What's up?
Hello. It's weird to be talking in the green or blue room. Are we calling it the blue room?
Today it's the blue room, yeah.
Because we're there for like 15 minutes and I'm like, don't say anything. We'll talk about it when we're live. Don't say anything. Save it. So anyway, hi everyone and welcome to All About the Joy. I'm glad that you're all here. We're waiting for Andrea again. Am I hearing an echo?
I thought I just heard somebody. Is that her?
I don't know.
Oh, it is.
Oh my God.
Hey, Andrea, how you doing?
I heard you say again.
Wait, whose phone is ringing? Is that Eric? Eric is in the house and he is too busy. He got to grab the phone. Okay, go ahead, Eric.
I took it off the hook.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. Okay, so Andrea, I think you met Eric back in the day when we were over at HAPS, because that's how I know Eric. And I don't know, have you guys met each other before?
Once.
See?
I watched y'all commented a few times. I think we shared the screen once.
Cool. So welcome, Eric. I thought I would give you the floor and let you talk a little bit about who you are and what you do and why I love you so much.
All right. Can you give me 1 second? I apologize, everybody. I thought about this the other day.
This is typical Eric on HAPS. Definitely typical Eric on HAPS.
This is live.
This is what happens when you have a landline in the same room.
You have a landline?
I have a landline.
I do.
Yeah.
Who else has a landline?
Me.
Okay, so the old people in the room have landlines.
My mother.
Oh, look at Rick. Why are you throwing it down on your mother?
I don't want the phone, but she wants it.
I'm just messing with you.
Has she had the same phone number forever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She won't change it.
funny.
No matter how many scammers call, she won't change it.
Rick, you're going to handle the chat, right? I know you asked me earlier, but if I just feel bad, like if anybody does show up, but it's on you. You do whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll flash it on the screen.
Okay, whenever Eric is ready, we will let him introduce himself and talk about what he does.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Hypes. I don't like, like the brain fart, but the associated names. But I know that we have to talk in this lingo. So I guess if you were to call me by society things, I'm a psychic, medium, sensitive, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm a human being, sensitive to other human beings, and those on this side of the veil and the other, and sentient things in general. But yeah, I have been on the journey, as we were talking about the last time you were on. So I was kind of, modern day society uses this term awake. So I was born awake. I sensed spirits. I became very fearful. People around me and family settings and things saw my gifts, acknowledged them at first, and then, things get tense and people don't like these things and they get fearful of these things. So I suppressed all of that, but all through the time I was getting the things that I get, but just keeping it at bay. And so I've learned that when you do that, you create dis-ease inside yourself when you don't accept yourself and don't portray yourself and don't live the way you're supposed to live or do what you came here to do. But all that was the way I was supposed to do. So I've been diagnosed with many things that I won't give validation or power to. But so I'm in the process of healing. I'm also in the process of helping other people to achieve this awareness for themselves. So I work with a lot of people that might be going through what they call the dark night of the soul, or things of that nature, where they just hit rock bottom or they're addicted to drugs or this, that, or the other. And I kind of help them find themselves and their connections with their path or their journey.
And I think that's what kind of connected me to you, because you know this, I don't believe any of that. Right? I don't really, but I would always go to your show because I always was learning something, and I started to understand a lot more about who I am in the world. Like, so Andrea, you're into astrology, right? What do you're into, because I always think it's weird that you believe some of the stuff you believe too. So look, Andrea's about to hit me. Like, why are you doing this to me? But don't you believe in, like, not tarot cards, but are you not?
Cards right here, everybody.
Oh my God! See? So it always boggles my mind because you're kind of agnostic, atheist, whatever, but you believe in all this other stuff. So I always get confused by it all.
Well, I'm open.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where I put myself. I'm open. I don't not believe it. I guess there are certain things where I'm like, okay, I would need a little bit more, but evidence or whatever. But I'm just open, and I would never invalidate someone else's experience. So,
Tony D.
Yeah.
Okay, can I just say, so I had texted Carmen a little earlier and told her that I wasn't going to be able to be on tonight because I've been so exhausted, but I believe things happen for a reason. And it's kind of funny because when Eric was saying, the things that he does and what he's into, it's kind of funny because last night, as I'm laying in bed sleeping, so I have a cat, and she's always on my bed, and I can always feel when she's crawling around on my bed and everything. And last night, I thought she was on my bed, and I felt her going around my feet, felt her kind of coming up the side. So I put my hand out, I'd like to pet her, but I didn't feel her. So then I opened my eyes, and she wasn't even on the bed. I didn't hear her like jump down like I usually do or anything like that. And I was just like, okay. And I just went right back to sleep.
But I don't know what that means. What am I missing?
Ash,
Sweet Pea. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Hi, Sweet Pea. Hi, Ash Pauls. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cynthia. I guess I'm missing what that means. See, I'm not open. I'm sorry. I'm not open, Andrea.
So I think
I don't know if there may be something in my house, because my husband has also said that things that he hears or feels or sees things in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, if there is, there is, we can't do anything about it. They're everywhere,
Well, yeah.
So,
I can
yeah,
resonate.
they are everywhere. There are things that you can't do about it, though. Yeah, all my hair is kind of raised up there. So what typically happens, and so I think what she's saying is, it's synchronicity that last night she experiences this, we're going to call it a supernatural experience, and then she ends up kind of thinking she's not going to make it on here, and then she makes it on here, and then here I am talking about this, what people call a supernatural, but it's actually very natural. We're all sensitive. We're all spirits before we're humans. We're spirits in a human body.
Clearly, I am the hardcore person in the room. I'm like, yeah, no.
I do resonate though with something Eric said, because I don't want to say this. I think words are powerful, and when he's saying that he's been diagnosed with whatever, but he doesn't, I forget the word he said. I'm kind of that way too. Like, why do people say, yeah, I had my cancer, my headache, my migraine? I'm like, why is it mine? Why are you taking it in as this is yours? Did you sign for it? Did you ask for it? No, you don't want this. Say, I'm fighting a headache or whatever. Why? Like, to me, that annoys me. It's just a pet peeve. Like, why is it my sickness? I don't want it. Send it back where it came from. Like, it's just
right. That's really profound what you're saying there. So from my understanding, it is your headache. Why would you want to fight it? So why I say that is we did sign up for this. We signed up for everything. So like in my story, what I was saying is I created these diseases within me by blocking off, not allowing the energy of my perceptions to flow through me. And so that ended up causing disease. Like I suffer from psoriasis, and psoriasis is, our skin is our largest organ in our body or on our body. And so me not being comfortable with people, me living in fear of people, thinking, oh, he's in hoots with demons, or he practices some kind of, because, a lot of, the Orthodox religions say that if you try to divinate or you talk to spirits, then you're, evil or something like that. And these are usually people that have never done this for themselves either.
Right.
Or there are the church establishments which have, speaking mostly to the Catholic establishment, which Constantine appropriated all the Bible, which it's significant that there's many things that were left out of the Bible. So when you say like fighting it to get rid of it, but if you open yourself up, as Andrea was saying, to, well, it is my headache. Like, Carmen's not experiencing it, you're experiencing it. So it's your headache. So why is it my headache? You become passive and you allow that pain that you're feeling to actually speak to you, because everything is a vibration, everything's a frequency. So everything is communicating on a sub level, and so when you start to alleviate yourself of a lot of these blocks, a lot of these false beliefs, a lot of these rigid ways of thinking, you start to be able to communicate on a lot of different levels. And I mean, like, a lot. You hear like clairsentient, clairaudient, you hear all these clairs when you get into like psychic stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it back for a minute, because even I'm like getting lost. But this is what I love about Eric. Okay, this is what I'm like. I always learn something, and I feel like I end up getting like in a little bit of like a trance. I'm like, okay, what? So I have to open up. I have to like. And I love people. Like, even if I don't agree or understand, because 9 times out of 10 with you, Eric, it's that I don't understand. It's almost too deep for me. And I'm okay saying that, because I am not genius on every level. And you and I have had that conversation before, where I don't have to understand everything, but I love being open to trying to understand. And I think sometimes when you speak about the things that you talk about, I don't know if trance is the right word, but I'm like, because it's almost
you get
too
enthralled.
much. What is it?
Yeah. You kind of get enthralled because you want to know. You feel like there's like a gravitas to what I'm speaking to, because I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm speaking, and I also counterly intuitively know it is a lot.
It's a lot.
For, like, someone to. So I don't mind like repeating myself or explaining from multiple points of view, because that's really what it's about.
But I also think it's also about just people being able to let it settle, right? Because what Rick said, I'm not completely against what Rick said. I think it's just a different perspective. And I understand what he means by that, right? Like, but I also get, so for me, I'm going to talk about my hip again, because I wasn't embracing that I had a hip issue at all. If anything, I was like, just like not even letting, it was not my hip issue. It was not a problem. And then I could no longer walk, right? We're talking 20 years later, 25 years after the fact, and COVID hits and I cannot walk. And then once I started accepting that it was actually something I needed to deal with, not only have I healed completely, but I'm so much better than I was before. Like, I already know it. I'm trying to get back on track, but I wasn't ready to be there. And I think that might be kind of where you're both. This is not on this list. I just want you to know that. This is nothing to do with business, what we're supposed to be talking about on the show. But here we are.
Andrea, we went off her itinerary.
And
But it has everything to do with joy.
And hello, everybody coming in. Carmen, did you cut your hair? Ash wants to know. Ash is here. Leslie's here.
No. It's another. Rick, you know what? I'm sorry. I sent you that message, but can we just put the chat up and see what it looks like? The problem is when because I'm thinking about editing, and what ends up happening is every time you put the chat thing up, it goes in and out like this, and it's going to drive me up a wall trying to edit that. You know what I mean? So now we're going to have the comments and nobody's going to comment. So I don't know who's here. Who's here, Rick? Tell us.
So we got Ash Paul's here.
Hi,
She's
Ash.
awesome. And Leslie's here. Tony's here. Melanie's here.
Hi, Tony. Melanie, hi.
For those that came late, somebody said they weren't familiar with Cynthia, cousin Cynthia, and Andrea.
We calling her cousin Cynthia? That's cool. Cousin Cynthia.
I'm putting in my phone.
Everybody's cousin.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. Well, Eric, I'm just glad to be back in touch with you as well. I feel like I'm a better person whenever you're around. And I don't mean that, I've said that to you before. I don't understand. I don't agree. Andrea knows my whole thing with astrology and stuff. I'm just over it. Like, I don't have the patience. And you've done tarot cards with me before, Eric. I remember when we were in HAPS, you did them with me. Or for me, or whatever the right verbiage is. So I love learning and I love cool people. And that's what I always think about you. I love the delivery. Like, you don't put me down or other people down when you teach or explain or love. And, for me, that is the people I want to be around, even if I don't agree with them, whatever. So, all right, I'm going to get back to my itinerary just for a minute, because I do want to talk about a few things. This show is never going to be about politics, but it would be ridiculous for me not to bring up that the former, I'm just going to call him Donald Trump, but the former president was indicted today, and we do not need to go any further into that. I just don't want to pretend that didn't happen, because it's a pretty big deal. I'm just saying it's a pretty big deal that a former president is being indicted. So throwing that out there. I don't know how to go into this segue, so we're just going to jump into it. I wanted to talk about remote work, since I think most people do a lot of remote work, except for probably me and Cynthia at this point, on this panel. And I wanted to talk about an article that was on LinkedIn that talked about how the work from era is over. So many companies are bringing back a lot of their employees and saying, if you don't come back, you could possibly lose your job, which I don't know how legal that is, but that's kind of like, with all the fancy wording, that is what they're coming down to. And it's the major companies such as Disney, Meta, Starbucks. Meta is Facebook, if people don't know. Disney, Meta, Starbucks are expecting employees to come into the office more frequently. Flexible work isn't completely ending. However, as staffing firms report that 13% of current job postings are for remote positions. So there are still some remote positions. So I wanted to hear from everyone, and I'm going to start with Andrea, because I know, Andrea, this is kind of your thing. How are you feeling about remote work in general? What are you seeing out there with the companies you work with? And where do you think business is going in the future?
Well, like you said, I don't think it's going away. I think a lot of these bigger companies want to regain some control over their workforces. And so that's one reason for bringing people back. Another reason is that they have all spent a lot of money on real estate that is sitting there empty, and they want to bring people in for that reason. But as you see some of the younger folks who lived through this at school, these last 3 years doing remote, and that's been their life, I think it's going to be harder and harder for people to, for businesses to have that hard line on, you need to come into the office, certainly not 5 days a week. I don't think that businesses who have that hard of a line are going to do well long term. But
right. I agree.
It has a lot to do, I think, with, like I said, they want to have some control. They want to see what people are doing. people, you know, a lot of the old school sort of executives and managers who are still in charge of a lot of these businesses believe in that idea of FaceTime, regardless of, you know, whether you're actually being productive.
Well,
for 8
don't
hours.
say FaceTime because people think that's iPhone. So you don't mean FaceTime, you mean in person.
Yeah, in person.
Trust
time.
me, this has been an argument in one of the offices I work in. They're like, we're always doing FaceTime. What's the problem? I'm like, okay, that's not what he meant.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, a lot of the, you know, older folks, I'll just say it, older folks, they want to see people. They want to see people's faces. And it doesn't matter whether or not they're being productive, whether or not they're actually working. They just want to see a body in a chair because that makes them feel like, you know, I've got a handle on the situation. But,
so, you know, I kind of have a different perspective. I kind of disagree. I don't disagree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But I actually think it's more about a hybrid situation. I think there are pros and cons to both. And I think there are just some jobs, there are some things that happen when you are in person that are different when you're just on a Zoom call. And you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think the real estate part of it is a big deal, especially these companies who have, you know, we're talking about Disney and Meta, whatever, they have all this real estate. But, you know, if they have enough money, I don't feel sorry for them about that. What we have to do is change the dynamic. Now, Cynthia, you work in an office every day. You wouldn't have to work in an office with what you do, right? Couldn't you do some of it remotely?
No, I have to.
Well, tell people
yes
what you
and no.
do because not everyone knows what you do.
I work the front desk. So I work at the hospital, and so I work in primary care, and I work the front desk. So I'm checking in patients. So that I definitely need to be there. The only way I would be able to work remotely is if I was in the call center, just answering phones, transferring calls here and there. That would be the only way. But I do agree with what Andrea was saying, that there is a lot of real estate. Like the hospitals have so many buildings that are going up, and a lot of them are empty. A lot of the offices are empty because a lot of
the
people
executive, like the admin offices, right?
The admin offices, yeah. But even the executives are working from home most of the time, but yet they still want people to come into the office.
You know, my whole thing with the buildings, I'm like, you know what? There's so many homeless people. I see something being solved there. I don't know. I get so annoyed by the real estate argument because it's like, why don't we worry about the people? What's best for the people, and then we can deal with the buildings. It's not like we couldn't use them for something else.
Exactly. But the whole thing with the remote for schools, like, I think in one case it is good for kids because it's less bullying that's going to go on because the kids are working remotely. But on the bad side is that it also alienates a lot of children. So when they do go back into the classes, they kind of don't know how to interact with others because they've been so secluded from other kids. So that's kind of.
I think bullying's a whole other conversation because there's so much bullying online, anyways. But I hear you. But I don't think bullying is part of this argument. I don't have kids, so I don't really. I think all of us adults are so isolated because of all the screen time we did during COVID. It was kind of an interesting test, you know what I mean, to see how we would all react and how we would all deal with. And I don't think a lot of us handled it well. I don't think a lot of people went a little wackadoodle. Maybe it was the first time or something, but you know what I mean? Look at Tony giving Cynthia props. Cynthia has made 2 points I didn't think about. Rick, what's your thought process? Because you only work remotely, right?
So the company I'm with have been working for over 20 years for them. So I started off working in my city, and then he started thinking about moving the whole operation to Florida. I'm in Connecticut. And so we were like, okay. And so he had people working down there, and he had us up here. And then eventually, little by little, up here started to disappear. And then he didn't show up anymore. Then he moved to another office, which was in another city. So then it was me and this one other guy. And then pretty soon it was just me. And then he finally said to himself, why am I paying all this rent money for one person to be in this big office that doesn't make any sense. So, Rick, would you like to work from home? I said, let me think about it. Yes. I'm home. Thank you. So, yeah. And so I've been doing it, and I think you have to have a certain personality to be able to do it. And I do. So, yeah, for me, it's great. It works for me. And yeah.
Eric, what's your deal? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to pry, but I don't know if you have an opinion either way about remote versus in-house, because I don't know if you work only for yourself or if you work for someone else.
No, I'm currently on disability. This has all been very interesting. So I was homebound from 2012 to 2019. So as the pandemic was hitting the world, I was actually healing enough to be able to go outside and stand and walk around in the world. So I was coming out while everybody was going in. And I had been in for 10 years. So, you know, it's interesting to watch the world have to go into yourself.
Yeah.
But in a controlled fashion. But, you know, I have my own feelings about all that, but everything's divinely orchestrated. But what I do agree with, like what Rick was saying, like my brother, he just got a new job, and because he was working from home and he couldn't stand it. He was like, I can't separate home and work anymore. And so, but for me, with the work I do, that's all I do is remote. I mean, I can go to places and feel the energies and do the clearings and connect people to whatever, but I have the ability and the privilege to be able to work with people in England, to be able to work with people in China, wherever they are, I can work with them. And so, you know, I feel that our society really needs to start getting into the value of what needs to be in person and what doesn't, because I think there's a lot of waste on both sides.
Okay, that's fair. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, there's pros and cons to both. And I like the idea of it being wasteful on both sides. There are some jobs you can't do remote, right? Like I was on a film set the other day. You can act all you want in your bedroom, but you can't do a scene. You know what I mean? And the crew needs to be there and whatever. So there's certain jobs you cannot do from home. And then there are jobs that I think, a lot of the people I work with are accounting people. They're just doing data entry, right? They're doing a lot of bookkeeping stuffage. They can do all that stuff from home, but then come into the office. And I have just started, because I go and see my clients once a week, but I've really been spending a lot of time, unfortunately, with one client going to the studio. And I like the camaraderie that happens, that even though I like doing this, like kind of the Zoom calls or whatever we want to call it and hanging out, there's still something different when you're in person that I can't really explain, that I wish you could transfer to the online experience, right? Because then you could do it with people in England or, Japan or whatever, from all over the world. But there is something, that we need as humans for that connection, So just a really quick answer. If you had a choice, what would be your preference? Work from home, hybrid, or work always remotely? So Rick, I think we know you're always going to work remotely. Andrea?
Remote. This is my office.
Remote.
I've never
travel a lot and go see your clients.
Yes, I do travel a lot to go see my clients, but as far as like going into an office for my job, never again.
Okay. Wow. Cynthia, what would be your preference? If you had the job, your dream job or whatever. Well, I know what your dream job is. You couldn't do that remotely.
Nope.
No? Do you want to tell people what your dream job is? Because I kind of opened that door. You don't have to.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to explain it?
Go for it.
Because I can't. I still mess it up every time. Okay, she wants to be. Okay, wait. This is how I explain it. She wants to be. Oh my God, what's the show? Damn it! What's the name of the show? Don't tell me. It's not okay. She wants to be the person that deals with dead people and carves them up and finds out how old they are or what happened and what crime. And there's a show with Dr. Brennan. What's her name?
Forensic analysis.
Yeah, Cynthia, what's the name of the show? Bones. It's Bones, right? So Dr. whatever her Temperance Brennan, that's her name. You want that job? She thinks I'm crazy. I think you're.
Oh, wait, what? Like, tell me what the job is again.
Wait, she's told me 95 times. I still can't get it right. It wants to be what is it, Cynthia? Just tell them. Anthropologist? No.
Forensic anthropology. Forensic anthropology.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's like people who have passed long, long ago.
Oh, no. Even if it's a crime today, she wants to analyze that. That's the show Bones.
Yeah, I also want to do autopsies.
That's her dream job. So you can't do that remotely.
No.
But Cynthia, is David Boreanaz going to be your partner?
Wait,
I would love for him to be.
That's what I thought.
Wait, is that how we say his last name?
That's how I say it. I don't know.
I did not know that's how you said his last name. That's so interesting.
You guys are always talking about shows I don't watch. Now I have to look it up.
Because Andrea, you don't watch that many shows.
Sorry.
You don't have to.
I'm in the dark on that.
I
one
know,
too,
Andrea. You don't have to be in
Andrea,
every conversation.
I just want to look up the people. I don't need to talk about it. I just want to see who's cute.
Oh, look up Temperance Brennan, Dr. Temperance Brennan. That's her name on the show. And the show's name
cute.
is called Bones.
Yeah, okay. They're cute.
Yeah, and then David Boreanaz or whatever, right? He's Angel from Buffy, right? Ash is like Angel from Buffy.
Yes.
Although I didn't think he was that good looking on Buffy. Not that I was a big fan of that show, but he got better looking as he got older. In a weird way, whatever.
I agree.
Right? He got better looking as he got older. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna get back to the fun stuff, I guess. All right, do you guys want to add anything or no? Wait, I didn't ask Eric. Eric, you prefer to work remotely because you mentioned you like being able to do what you do all over the world too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say hybrid. So like if there was something to go actually that I could go be there in physical, I would, when I get to that level of health, I would do that.
Yeah, you know what? I actually like being around people. I don't know if I necessarily want to work for people. Like that's my difference. Like I like having, my little consulting thing that I do and I enjoy that. But I do love going into the studio. I do love going into JP Morgan or Wells Fargo and sitting down with people and having a conversation about whatever my client, like I like interacting with people. Earlier Cynthia had sent me a text. I was on a Zoom call and it was like the fourth Zoom call I had in the past 2 days, about the same subject, which I know if we were just in one room together, we could have figured it out. Right? Because part of the time we're trying to figure out a program for somebody by telling them how to do it, by sharing the desktop, but if I was just in front of them, I would have been like, click, click, click. You know what I mean? Like just here's how you use it, So I do like that part of it. Okay, let's see. Bones. I can't handle anything scarier than the flying monkeys in The Wizard of Oz. Do I know Chris Rossetti?
He's a friend of mine.
Hi, Chris.
He has an amazing radio voice. Like he's not on the radio, but he has.
Does he do voiceovers?
I think he does do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool dude. Very funny.
Oh, Ash is talking about group Zooms. I know it's horrible. Okay, changing gears. If you could, I'm going to give you a second to think about it. If you could trade your life for someone else's, who would you choose? And yes, Rick, it can be someone, I guess, dead. I don't know why you would want to be dead. Because, Rick is going, can it be somebody dead? Can it be somebody fictional? Yes, it's just a question. You must trade your life for someone else's. Given the chance to trade lives with one other person, who would you choose? I'll start with me to give you guys a moment to think about it, okay? So the reason why this came up is because I was watching people who I think are just in complete joy, like just one of them is what? Why is Andrea laughing? What did I miss?
Comment.
I traded with my wife because she married. Okay, we like Chris. We like Chris. Okay.
Chris stole my answer.
That was really good. Yeah, nobody can use that one. No smart aleck answers unless you're in the chat. No. But anyway, I was thinking about it, and I think I told you all the other day about Sherry Shepherd, who seems to be living her best life right now at her talk show, whatever. And then I was thinking about Lizzo, who is just so happy and changing lives and doing what she does so well. And that's what it came. That's what it came to me. Like, if I had to trade my life, and you can't be like, oh, but I love my life the way it is. We know. It's just a question. So I think I would trade my life with Beyonce because I could dance, I could sing.
Okay.
I would be on stage, which is what you know what I mean? Like, that's what, so I was thinking about it, and I think she's living her best life. I don't know if I want the kids and the husband, but Beyonce before she got married. Okay. Or Lizzo. Hey, Gray, how you doing? Hi, Gray.
Hi.
He's so cute. He's so big. How old is he now? He has no idea who I am. He's what?
He's 5.
Wow. I can't believe that. Okay, Rick.
Man, you would pick me first.
Okay, Andrea.
First last time. Somebody else.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna put you all off. I'm gonna take you all off. I'm gonna have my own show by myself. Just anybody. Like who?
Okay, I actually have an answer.
Okay, go ahead.
And I will say at first I was like, yeah, no, I can't think of anyone. But this is bizarre, but there's this show that I watch on Netflix called Somebody Feed Phil. I don't know if anyone's seen this movie. It's like a travel and eating show.
Oh, that makes sense though, because that's something you've always wanted to do.
And he's I can't remember his last name, Phil something. He's the guy that created the show Everybody Loves Raymond, which I never watched. But anyway, so he's super funny. He's got great friends. He's happily married. His kids seem awesome. I mean, obviously it's all a TV show, but so he travels around to different places around the world. So he gets to see those places and he gets to eat all kinds of wonderful food. And it just seems like he has a super fun life. So that's who I would trade.
You know, it's interesting. You and I would both pick things that we wish we were doing. Like I want to dance and be on stage. And I remember back in the day, you wanted to do a travel show or you wanted to travel and write about it, remember? And and then we did the opposite.
Yeah, and then we did other stuff.
We did something else. Cynthia. All right. If you can't think of it, you guys would think too hard on stuff. Eric, you want to chime in? You got an answer?
Sure. I'll probably give you an answer that you won't like, but so it's kind of like the whole disease thing. I don't, because I thought about this because you kind of, broke your own rules and gave me some tidbits.
I did give you tidbits of what was
so
today. I did.
It's kind of like when you think about those things, because I've actually had spiritual, like, I've been educated. I've been schooled by spirit. Like I was watching Prince one time, before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I wish I was, I think Prince is fucking cool, sexy, he's rock and roll, play 27 instruments, whatever, So I was like, it would probably be cool, and here was me at the time. I'm totally disabled, locked in the house, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'd like to be Prince. And Spirit was like, watch your words, Eric. Watch your words. You never know what someone else's life is like. And he's going to die soon.
Okay, this is just okay, so, I'm not going to have Eric or Rick on my show no more.
so 3 months later, he dies. And and then when he died, I started experiencing that I had dreams about his death. And so that's a whole. Do what?
After he died, you were having dreams about his death?
No, once we started getting details about his death, where he died at his home, I started realizing I had dreams about his death 15 back probably in about 2002, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. I had multiple dreams about his death. And so that's a whole topic. A lot of people think people die certain ways because of whatever, but there's a lot of different things that go on in this world that people don't know about and probably won't ever know about. But so I wouldn't want to put my energy out there thinking that I was someone else. But it's interesting because the gentleman that Rick knows, was it Chris? When I thought about this earlier, I was like, I'm single right now. So I was like, well, if I was going to think about someone I would want to be, it would be whoever is going to be my significant other, because I would want to kind of know what they've gone through and what their life experience has been like, so that I can further value it.
Okay, cool. You and Rick are way too deep sometimes for me. Like it's just a game. We're not like there's nothing happening, just a question. But I got you. But that's why I love having you on. Because now you're making me be like, why did I want to trade my life with Beyonce? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it makes you wonder how.
But I know why.
But do you know why? You don't know who Beyonce is.
No.
But you also said in there.
No, because you're.
But also, you said I want to erase half of her life. I only want these parts of her.
I didn't say that. So hey, Ted, how you doing?
Yeah, you said I don't want the husband and the children. I want her before. I know, but
Eric, I know you can analyze me later, baby. You can call me later and analyze my ass off, okay? But what I'm saying is, it's the same reason why I understood why Andrea, because I know Andrea so well. I understand why she picked what she picked. It's because when I said Beyonce, I'm talking about the dancing. I was a dancer, right? And I'm no longer a dancer the way I used to be. The dancing and the singing and being on stage, there's a part of me that wants to still do that. It's why I'm doing the live stream now. So of course I don't know her entire life, and I don't have deep dreams about her prance, and I don't, you know what I mean? We're just talking like simple things. I got to get you to lighten up a bit. That's why I have you on the show. Like I want you to analyze me later, and we can talk later. We can have different, we can do all that, but that's all this is. Rick, I'm skipping you. Cynthia, have you come up with somebody? I can't. Sorry, too much work. No, I'm going to ask you afterwards. Cynthia, did you think of someone? I can't hear you.
Actually. You can't hear me?
Yeah,
we hear you now. Yeah, hear me at all? It's like a weird delay. Is it just me? I feel like
no, it is.
No, it's probably my computer.
Ted Hicks, hello. Sorry.
But even though it's a man, I'd probably go with Gordon Ramsay.
Oh,
only because I do love to cook. I would like to learn how to cook different things, and I know he does go to different countries and learn their culture and learn their actual traditional dishes. So I would like to be him.
You trade lives. You trade lives with him. He's kind of mean though, isn't he? On the show, is he hardcore? I only see little TikToks of him.
On the show is, but
yeah, the show, yeah. But we don't know him for real. That's what Eric is saying. We don't really know him, right? So, Eric, I'm gonna mess with you. You know I am. Okay, Rick.
It's all good.
Let's go, Rick. Don't say Linda Carter. No Linda Carter.
No, this is gonna sound. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's true, Chris. That was a good.
Don't go to Ford Theater tonight. Okay, Chris being silly now.
Might sound crazy, but like I guess maybe because I feel like if I could do anything, I would want to help the maximum amount of people, like really help people worldwide. And the person I think of that comes to mind, but I would have to be the male version of like somebody like Mother Teresa, where you're just helping people. That's your whole life is just helping people. Like that would make me feel good.
I like that.
I don't like this silence. It's making me feel awkward.
I'm trying not to make a joke about it. I'm trying not to make a joke about it and like get back. I'm trying to think what Eric is thinking.
Well, that's interesting because I'm like, it's very interesting because I hear you and you're like, I want you to lighten up, but then there's this thing in me that's like, but do people know what lighten up is? And if I'm going to say something that one of my teachers taught me. It's like, if people knew what they were doing with their energy, with the words that they speak, they probably wouldn't do them anymore.
But what is it? Okay, we're going to get into this then. Like what? Like,
so like, for example, as what Rick's saying right there, like, I mean, that's I love what he said. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, but he's already doing that in a different way.
But isn't that the point?
But he's not doing it to the extent or the height that Mother Teresa is doing it. And same with you,
right?
And what you were saying. So it's like.
So you get my reason why I'm asking the question? Is that what I'm hearing, Eric? That's my point. Is that's what we're doing. Like, when you ask questions that are silly, sometimes you learn some insight. That's all. I don't want you to put so much. This is what I'm going to say. This is where you and I disagree. We're just going to disagree, okay? And I love that I can disagree with you. But this is what I'm saying is like, everything doesn't have to be, for me, in my experience, so heavy and so deep. And so sometimes we can play. And when we play, we can learn something about ourselves. That's why I just said that about Andrea, about the travel show or my dancing. It's not like it has to be so difficult.
Right. And so not that it's difficult, but what I would say is, instead of saying like who I would trade my life to, maybe if you just reworded it.
Child, you can have your own show and reword your own questions. Okay?
You could say,
what are you doing, child? You out of here.
Who inspires you?
Girl,
whose life
look at me, I'm calling you girl.
And, like,
listen.
Makes you want to be.
No, you got to have your own show. You could call it All About the Joy with Eric. I'll let you even have some of the name. Okay, baby? You need to go have your own show. Okay? Oh, my God. All right. Wow. Okay. See, this is why I love Eric. He makes me rethink things and then these are my favorite people. All right. Hi,
Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Do I know Lisa?
She's one of my peoples.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Lisa. Okay. All right. This is a simple one. Okay. We have about 13 more minutes. Does anybody else want to chime in on anything at the moment? I know y'all like, no, just ask me questions. You guys in a weird space today. Or maybe it's just me bringing that bad energy. I don't know. What was something you had in high school you wish you had now? Something that you had in high school. Okay, let me tell you why this came about. Because somebody on, I think it was TikTok, did this question or whatever, and or maybe it was Facebook. I think it was Facebook. Somebody said, "What is something that you had back in?" Chris said, "Hair." That's awesome. Chris is killing me. Okay, that you had in high school that you wish you had. Now, some people said like mom, dad. That was kind of heavy or whatever. But other people said like hair, and then somebody said a waistline. That was funny. I was gonna say I wish, I don't know if the right word is, I don't know what the right word is for this, but I never had any fear of doing anything anytime. So I don't want to say confidence because I have a lot of confidence, right? I do, but I would be like, oh yeah, you want me to try that? I will go do it. I don't know what the right word is, but whatever that is.
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness. Thank you. Yeah. I wish I had that now. Eric, what do you wish? Or maybe.
That was the one that stumped me. What I had in high school that I wish I had now.
Or maybe we could have, Andrea, do you have a thought?
All the time in the world. All the time in the world. Yes. Laying on the floor, listening to my records, reading a book, walking over to my friend's house. All the freaking time in the world.
That's the best answer, I think. I think we're done. That's the answer. And it was great talking to all of you. No, that was great. I love that one.
I agree with Ash. Energy and waistline.
Dark purple bedroom walls. Oh.
Can I say?
We'll do that. Ash?
Can I say not having any bills to pay? Is that what's
That's
There you go.
That's the right answer.
I think I'm with Rick on that one.
That's the right answer. Yeah. I do remember being more fearless, but also the time thing is really kind of killing me. I didn't even think about that. Because you didn't have, you thought you had responsibilities. Like you thought everything was important, but it really wasn't.
No.
So since you've thought about that one, Carmen, have you thought about what gave you that fearlessness that you don't have now?
It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. I was so fearless because I had nothing to lose because I didn't have anybody, right? So everyone had their own journey or whatever, but I think the fearlessness was maybe, that's why I don't know if it's the right word. So, I was living on the streets. I was living in people's homes. I was dancing. I was in color guard and drum corps. I was performing all the time. So all of it was about that moment. You know what I mean? Like, but when you have nothing to lose, now.
I love that.
I don't know.
Because you pretty much defined why people get into that rut, and that is attachment. We have attachments to things, and like if you take that old cliche saying of live every day like it's your last day, that's basically like you're tossing off all these attachments and all these things that might make you feel like if you exit or you get, then you're. Or like I've felt for the last 10 years is being a burden. You don't want to be a burden to anybody or anything like that, So that's good. I like your.
Another thing is probably like just the feeling of joy when you're younger. Like the smallest thing would be like the most joyous thing in your life. Now it's like it takes a lot, or you just don't feel the same joy in yourself. Like you really don't.
Unless you have a couple drinks, I feel lots of joy. But yeah, I hear you. You're right. No, that's true. You're true. You're right. Yeah, like when you're younger, or when I was younger, I should say, it would be like the smallest thing would just make me so happy. Like, I don't know.
Being present.
What, Eric?
Being present in the now moment and experiencing things. Because I've when I started getting out in the COVID and started walking in nature, I started feeling what you're talking about again. Like just the butterfly flying across the path, or the breeze, or the scent on the breeze, and I'm just like, that's what it's like to be alive. That's what brings me joy. Just being able to appreciate, like Cynthia said, the little things.
Like it was funny, Carmen. Remember when I was down there and we're driving down? Forgot the name of that road, but going towards Malibu.
PCH.
And how you're like, oh, look at the water, and I'm like, oh, look at the mountains, and I was more amazed by the mountains than I was the ocean.
It was so weird. It was so weird, but it was cool because most people look at the ocean, and she was looking, over at. I don't even call those mountains. They are mountains, but once you've been to Vermont, it's hard to call our mountains in Santa Monica mountains. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like, but it was, I'm sorry?
So they're hills.
Right. Andrea, you get me, right? Like, but you were so fascinated, and you were fascinated by the houses on the hills or the mountains. Yeah. I like the idea of present, but I hate when people use it in such a way, like, oh, you have to live in the moment, the whole thing. But when you connect it to joy, or, like when you connect it to an actual thing that I can grasp, that makes more sense to me, because I don't want to live in the moment when it's horrible. I don't want to, like when something's bad, what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, yes, the tragedy, center myself. What I mean?
Feel it.
I know, right?
I'm good.
Oh, I'm
my
so with
goodness.
Chris on this. Atari games. Yes. Bring back Atari.
Oh, yeah.
My
Videos
60
on MTV. Oh my God.
Oh my God. What has MTV become? MTV is not music videos anymore. Okay, my last question, because Rick is telling me we have 5 minutes. Okay, this just came up today. This has nothing to do with anything we talked about, but can women and men be friends?
Yes.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. I don't know what men think, but women believe men.
Let's ask the men.
For me,
I think it's. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, I can, but I know some men that would like, yeah, it's not gonna work because you don't respect women at all. So it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I think I feel. I don't like to think, but I feel like we're in kind of the pendulum swing of going from a male-dominated toxic masculine, and then we're trying to indoctrinate the women into a male toxic thing. Oh, we can do everything the men can do, and it's more about going inside. And so when the male can actually be friends with his own feminine energy within inside him, then I feel like those men can actually be courteous or aware and appropriate with women, and because we are different, in different ways, but I feel like you basically have to appreciate the other one to be able to be friends with them. So
that's a really good way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, if you don't have that appreciation and respect, you can't be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I agree. I don't know why I'm being complicated, but I don't disagree. I got confused. Yeah, I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that you can't be friends, but just because there's male, female, and anything in between, if I am not consistently always sexually attracted to every person I meet. Do you know what I mean? Like not walking around in like a frenzy. You know what I mean? Like I meet people all the time and my first thought isn't like, oh my God, I wish, so I don't know why it's so difficult. I think we've started to believe the cliche. You know what I mean? I feel like we've started to believe, people are like, oh, we cannot, and I'll say this, some of my best friends are men. I had to do it. It's just funny. Some of my best friends are men. But yeah, so I'm going to let you guys go around the room. Just say a little bit, you want to say goodbye, whatever, because we're down to the last few minutes. Promote whatever you want or not. I'm going to start with Andrea. Andrea's in the house. Andrea, I miss you. We need to get together and have I know. Dinner, drinks.
I need to do something. The kids have opposite spring break, so I'm screwed for the next couple of weeks. But anyway,
sorry.
I don't have anything to promote, but thanks for having me again. And hi and hello, and thank you for your comments in the chat. Well, yeah, that's my company, the Genesis Group. And we do culture change work with primarily small businesses. So that's where you can find me. I don't really do social media.
Cynthia, I thought you weren't coming, so I deleted your thing today. And I realized, Rick, I don't have to delete her stuff, right?
No.
You don't have to delete it. You can leave it. Cynthia, I'm so sorry. It's my fault.
I have fun coming on this. I do.
I know, but I wanted you to promote your website, which is CynthiaYvetteLopez.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now go ahead. I'm sorry. I spoke over you because I can't hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I just like coming on here and meeting new people. Hello to everyone in the comments. Loved all the comments. They were awesome. Love meeting Eric and Rick again. You guys are great. And Andrea.
You know.
So yeah, I always have fun with you guys.
Cool. Eric is never coming on the show again.
Right.
Eric, I'm gonna have
I'll be doing my own show next week. No.
All about the joy with Eric Heights.
I know. It's gonna be like hanging with friends, not Carmen.
No, but I love Carmen. I feel like we are two birds of a feather, even though we're on different sides of the spectrums on things. That's one thing I value about you and Rick, both from the HAPS experiences. You know, I value people that I have differences with, but we can hang out. We can, you know, communicate, and there's no judgment. There's no walls. There's no barriers. You know, I learn from you. So it feels good to hear you all say you enjoy things that I might say or bring to the table. So Carmen, thank you for inviting me. Rick, always a pleasure. Andrea, it's always a pleasure to hear you speak. You're very, like you said, open. And Cynthia, not to be the last but least, but have you had another cat in the past that's not with us now?
No.
All right. So that's what I was kind of worried about. So
look at Chris. Thank you, Chris.
But
Chris
if you want to connect more on that subject that you brought up at the beginning, feel free to find me on Facebook, and we can sit down and find out what's in your house.
And Cynthia, you should connect with him on Facebook. Seriously, I mean, and it's kind of that thing. It's look at I say this all the time, and I'm sorry to all the HAPS people who get annoyed by this, but HAPS to me was a ridiculous, interesting experience. Like, that's about as nice as I can say it. But the people that I met there that I really gravitated towards are people that I disagreed with and learned something, or people that, because Rick and I are very different. We are not the same at all, but we've had some full-on conversations and learned something from each other. And I think that's what it is. Like, when you can learn from somebody, that's my thing.
Shut up, Tony.
What did Tony say?
He said, we know.
We know about what? The conversations we had.
Yeah, HAPS and blah, blah.
Oh, HAPS. Okay. But Eric, I was so glad when you said, and I hope you'll come on again too. Rick, you want to say, Rick, I want to say I appreciate that Rick has offered and is actually producing my show from now on. So we're having meetings and real conversations, and it's been kind of fun starting this. But yeah, Rick, why don't you put up your own little website? And
yeah, so if you want to find out about me, just go to rickcosta.com and you'll figure it out real quick.
You'll figure it out real quick, like Andrea did last week.
Yeah.
Andrea, your face, chef's kiss. It was awesome. But even Rick said it. Rick was like, he sent me a DM. Her face when she realized.
I need to get in the bobblehead guy again.
I know, the bobblehead Jesus. Oh, Eric, I don't know if you were watching last week when this happened, but Andrea, we're all getting along, laughing, giggling, whatever, and then somehow Andrea realizes that Rick is very religious, and Andrea is not.
No, I knew that. You had told me that before. I think I was just totally enamored with the bobblehead Jesus. I was like, that's the most I've ever seen in my life.
It was kind of cool. It was very funny. It was just a moment, like one of those precious moments. But yeah. So if people, again, I appreciate everyone who is watching and enjoying. I appreciate the emails. I've got a couple of DMs and a couple of emails on LinkedIn. Please go to allaboutthejoy.com or aatjoy.com and follow us wherever you can, especially on LinkedIn. I need to get like 1,000 people on LinkedIn so I can just stream there and not on my personal LinkedIn page. So if you're on LinkedIn, please find me. I would really appreciate it. And also YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. And bye. Thank you.
And please like, share, and subscribe.
Oh, I always forget. I'm sorry, Rick. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, you need to do that at the beginning, too.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get it. We're doing this little by little. We'll get it. We'll get it. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by. All About the Joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.